Hello planner friends. So in today's video I am going to be showing you how I make the monthly divider tabs for my planner, and this is a 8.5 by 11 cut in half planner, and I already did the tabs for January through April, so here you can see what those look like. Let's bring that a little bit closer. So I'm going to show you today how I made this page on Excel, and it's really easy. I just cut the page after I printed it and then glued it to the back of this pretty scrapbook paper, and I am going to show you all of the different measurements of how I did that on Excel, and I already have these tabs printed. So let's dive on in and I will show you how to do the Excel calendars. For this video, I will be showing you how to make a calendar on a half sheet. This is what I did for my current 2022 planner. So when you see the page, what I did here was I just sliced it right in half, and I've got one side and the other side, and it's really simple. I don't have to make multiple cuts like I did with the classic sized Happy Planner copycat that I did last year. So first thing we want to do is we want to click on this middle button right here down at the bottom. It's the layout of the page, so we can actually see what our page looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger so that I can see everything. And then I'm going to go to the page layout and I'm going to do my margins. All of my margins, I like them to be 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to put 0.25 on all sides. And I'm going to get rid of the header and the footer because I don't need those. And last thing is I'm going to center the document on the page both horizontally and vertically. So now when we click OK, we see that the margins are pretty narrow on the sides, and that is exactly what I want. Next, I'm going to select my 7 columns for the 7 days of the week, and I'm going to expand them a little bit so that they fill up the page, and you can see my margins are on the sides right here. So I can make them just a tad bigger. Okay, that's good enough. And when you click on this end right here, it's going to tell you what the width is. So the width of the columns is 1.13 inches. And I'm going to get started with the actual calendar. So the first row, I'm going to do my month and the year. I'm going to select merge and center for the first 4 columns, and that's going to be where the month is going to go, and the last 2 columns I'm going to do the same thing, merge and center, and I'm going to type in the year. And then for the next row, I'm going to put the days of the week, and I'm actually going to copy and paste them from another document that I have open on the side here. And give me a second here. There we go. Geez, making these videos never goes as smoothly as I would hope. So then we're going to get to the fun part, and this is what is going to make your life really easy. I'm going to put in all of the days of the month, but instead of typing everything like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, by hand, that's going to take a long time. So I'm going to type in a 1, and then I'm going to put in a formula. And the formula is an equal sign, and then I'm going to click on the previous day, and then type in plus 1. That is your formula. And then I'll move on to the next day. Instead of doing the same thing, which you can, I'm going to save you some time. So we're going to click on this box, and at the bottom here, when it turns into that little black plus, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag it all the way out to the end. So instead of typing a 1 through 7, this happened a lot quicker for us. And one more shortcut I'm going to show you is click on the plus sign again here, and we're going to drag it down all the way. And on the next box, this is where our 8 is going to go. I'm going to put in another formula, and it's the same thing. Equal sign, click on the Saturday the 7th, and then type in plus 1. And now I have my numbers 8 through 14. And then I'm going to click on this box again, and same thing, I'm just going to drag it down. Look at that. So I just saved you a whole lot of time. Instead of typing all of these numbers in by hand, we put in a formula. And that's really how I like to do things. I like to make sure that everything is quick and efficient because I would hate to sit here and type repetitive numbers over and over. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put these numbers where I want them to be. So I highlighted everything, and now I'm going to go up on top here, and I want my numbers to be at the top and at the left corner. And then I will do my font for the first line. Actually, my font for everything. I like to use the Kristen font. I think it's a fun one. And I will make the first line bigger. So let's go to about 22. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. And then I'm going to highlight everything that I just did. I'm going to copy it. I use the shortcut on my keyboard. If you are using a Mac, the shortcut is Command C. If you are using a Windows computer, I believe the shortcut is Control C. And then I'm going to skip this next line, and I'm going to paste everything that I did into this next line. So we have the same thing that we just did. So now we have 2 months. I know they're not done, but that's okay. So now I have the 2 months. I'm going to copy everything that I did here. Again, Command C if you are using a Mac, and Control C if you are using a Windows computer. And I'm going to paste it in the very next line. I'm not skipping a line on this one. Okay, and we're going to do this a few more times. All right, so I don't know how many of these I have, but let's hope that I have 12. So now I'm going to play around with how big these boxes are going to be. I'm going to select all of these and then scroll down, and on my computer I'm holding down the Command button and I'm clicking through the next rows that I want to select. And I want to do this all at the same time because I want to make sure that all of them are the exact same size. Make sure for this one you are only selecting the number boxes, that you are not selecting any of the other rows. And there's a couple of ways I can do this now. The one way I really like to do this is by clicking and dragging these boxes down. And I've made this before, so I know that the boxes should be about 0.85 inches or so. So I'm going to drag it down, and now you can see it says height 0.85 inches, and I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to wait for my computer to think and catch up with everything. All right. And scroll all the way back up. Now I'm going to make everything a little bit smaller so I can actually see on the page what the page looks like. Okay, so I want both of these calendars, I want 2 to fit perfectly on one page. And now I've got a couple of extra rows on here, so I'm going to play around with the other rows that I have. Like the days of the week, I'm going to make these a little bit bigger. So again, same thing that I did earlier. Let's make this bigger. Same thing I did on the previous step. I'm going to scroll down and hold the Command button and select the rows that I want to play around with. And I'm not going to make these too much bigger because we do have other rows to play around with. Okay, and I'm going to make these about, let's see, 0.31 inches. That looks pretty good. And the last one I want to do is the month and the year. So I'm going to go back up and select those and give these just a little bit more space. I know I just said this is the last one we're going to play with. It's not. I lied. The last one is going to be that blank row that we're playing around with. Okay, make these just a little bit bigger, maybe 0.56 inches. All right. Okay, maybe a little bit smaller. Hold on. Let's do 0.5. Okay. And the reason I want to do this is because this blank middle row, I want to give some space there. This is where I'm going to cut the piece of paper so it separates the 2 months. So let's go ahead and scroll through and select all of those and make these guys the size that we need. Okay, and let's make this, let's see, 0.38. Let's see how that looks. See if we can make it a little bit bigger. 0.4. All right, that's looking pretty good. So now we have 2 calendars on each of the pages, except for the last one. I don't know why the last page always does this. It always adds the, I do know why. Because this line doesn't have anything underneath, so it doesn't go down to the next page, which means that we can make this just a tad bigger. Hopefully I don't completely mess everything else up. All right, I think that's enough playing around with this. So now let's do our months. So all of these have 35 numbers in there, and that's okay. So we'll start with January. And January began on Saturday. So Saturday was the 1st. And now I'm going to select the 1st through the 6th, and I'm just going to hit that delete button. So now my calendar automatically adjusts all of the days. And well, I don't have those other 2 boxes. And for my planner, I really don't mind putting the numbers in the open boxes up above. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in 30 and 31 here. And then I can do the outline of the boxes because I want to be able to see exactly where my borders for the boxes are. So I select the boxes that I want to highlight, and then I click on up here right under the font. It's the borders, and you can select how you want the borders to be. You can even do different types of line color, line style, if you want to make them dotted or dashed, or whatever makes your heart happy, that's what you can do. So let's move on to the next month. Now we're into February. And February is going to start on Tuesday. So again, I'm going to select the first 2 days and just hit the delete button. And February ends on the 28th, so highlight 29 through 33 and delete those. And that was really quick, right? This is exactly why I love using Excel. I can't think of using a different type of program to do this because I don't think anything else would allow me to put in formulas and just make things really easy. All right, and of course continue typing in all of the different months and deleting the days that you don't need and making your borders as you feel fit. So hopefully this was an easy and pretty understandable tutorial. Geez, I can't even think right now. I am filming this at like 2 o'clock in the morning, so please forgive me if this doesn't make sense, but hopefully it does. So I'm going to zoom out and I will show you. So when you print the piece of paper, it's going to look like this. I'm going to slice it right in half, and I'm going to paste this calendar on the back of a pretty piece of scrapbook paper, and that is what's going to go as the tab in my new 2022 planner. All right, so now that we have the calendars printed, here is what they look like. So it's going to be a regular 8.5 by 11 page. I printed it single-sided because we're going to be slicing these right in half and sticking these onto the tabs that I already made. So I'm going to show you how to do an example of one, and I know I did this in my previous video too, but just in case you didn't get a chance to watch that and you're watching this for the first time, I'm going to go through that really quickly for us here. So hopefully that Excel tutorial was fairly simple to follow. And of course, if you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I will be more than happy to answer those for you. All right, so see, that was simple. We sliced that right in half. And since I've already cut out the tabs, if you want to see how I did that, watch the previous video. So I'm going to do, this is going to be the next month. This is going to be for May. I'm going to glue these together like that. And I'm going to use my trusty little tape runner here. And I want to glue these before I punch any holes in here. So that will make it easier. Oh, that is not the one that I want to use. There we go, my crafter's tape. And this is not the best tape runner, but this is the most affordable that I have found. They have at Hobby Lobby. And I know I might be going a little overboard with the tape, but that's okay. So the hard part is getting these guys lined up without them sticking before I line them up. Oh, and they did. Ah, no. Exactly what I don't want to happen. All right, you know what? Lesson learned. I'm just gonna stick it on like that. That's fine. And I'm going to trim it with my scissors. Problem solved. I know this one is going to look a little bit funky, but that's all right. At the end of the day, all I really need to look here for is the bills that I need to pay and stuff like that. I don't really use the monthly calendar very much, so this is not a huge deal. I know some of you are probably cringing right now going, oh my gosh, it's crooked. I know. Sorry, guys. And then I'm going to line this up so it's right in the middle. Punch that. And it is ready to go into my planner. So I printed all of the days through April already. Or actually, no, I printed some more that I didn't realize. Okay. I'll leave. Should I put it here? No. Okay, so it's going to go in here. All right, there we go. There's my May. And I'm going to continue on with all of the rest of the months that I printed. All right, so now I have the rest of my calendars all printed and glued down onto their tabs. And I'm going to go ahead and stick these in my planner. And now I just need to work on the rest of the calendar inserts. And I might be making a video on that if you guys are interested in seeing how I do the different days, the different weeks. And I make those, of course, on Excel too. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. I will be happy to make a video on that also because, well, I gotta make the rest of them. So might as well share my knowledge with everyone. And here is my planner. I like this. I really like this size. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So I will probably continue making my planners this way in the future.